Hey guys, this is Young's Paper Creations, and you are now going to be spending some time with me, and I hope you don't mind. This here is my, as someone said, one of my friends on YouTube loves to say, she says, "Welcome to my happy place," and I believe that she's got that down pat. And from time to time, maybe just maybe, I will use that sentiment because I think she echoes what we all feel when we get ourselves online. And welcome to my happy place. And this morning, I just thought I will have you join me in seeing the method to my madness. I've been very fortunate to have my customers love my work. And, unfortunately, when you go into a restaurant and you taste all the delicious meals set before you, you have no idea the process and all the creativity and everything that takes place first before you get that lovely plate being placed in front of you. And so I use that analogy to equate with my work. And just as an example, look at this lovely journal that someone will soon be getting. It's not ready, so um, if you happen to be watching and you like it, then put in your order for it. But it is not fully ready. I need to place some goodies inside of there. But this is what I'm speaking of. The beginning seems so chaotic and bare, but once you start adding your niceties to it, it becomes just a lovely gem. And so this is one of my journals. It is available. When you order from Young's Paper Creations, you just let me know that you wanting one, two, three, four, as many journals, and I just put it together for you and take a photo, and then you can tell me, just a couple of basics. But I love having the creativity left to me, and then for the future, you'll let me know. I'm generally good at seizing up on what you like, but I also put enough pages uh, for liberty in my journals so that perchance that you don't happen to like a photo or anything like that, just go ahead, rip out one end, find the other, and rip that other end out. You would still have enough to play with. All right? So, that being said, let me have you join me in my happy place. I'm working on another journal, and well, I'm working on more than one, but this particular journal that I'm working on right now, I wanted you to see that this is to be the cover. And I do, it should you be wanting covers with your journal, let me know. I'll send you two covers. Okay, if you want to try your hand at creating your own journals, I can get you a kit, and that's $40 if you want to have a kit. Okay, I had a giveaway going on. When you purchase a journal, you get two covers. Now that's over, but you can get the kit. I could give you the papers and cover, and you can use that in conjunction with a journal. So when you get a journal, if you want to add on a kit to that, it's $40 as opposed to 25 for the rest of the month. In the new year, the price goes up just slightly. All right, this is a promotion of $25 right now for the journals. Enough of that. Let's continue on. Take a sip of my brew. And so right now you see just the bare white sheets. Some people don't like white pages, and they, you know, color it and do all manner of things. I don't have a problem with it. Sometimes, very few times, I might uh, coffee dye or tea dye. Right now, these are not. So these are the wallpaper sample sheets that will be going into this current journal. So as opposed to paper pads, I do have paper pads and I use it, but primarily I use lots of wallpaper sample sheets. So that's what's going into this journal right now. So I'm going to cut it down, and my journal happens to be, I have a plethora, and I'm not kidding, of rulers, but when I want it, sometimes I can't find it. So right now these are 10.5 in length by 5 3/4, close to 6. Okay, it's a lovely feel. It's like a purse. Once I started making these, I loved it so much. Going back, I don't know. So I'm gonna cut these down now. These are gonna be a little bit less than that, obviously. So I'm just gonna have you sit with me and watch me do this if you have some time and you just want to watch my play. Sometimes when you cut the papers too, you also cut a miss, which is what I did with this lovely one. So it's a little bit short, but that's okay, because when I go to put in my book pages, I will work on that. And that's one of the beautiful things about the journals. They take on a mind of their own. No journal is the same, and that's one of the most beautiful things. Sometimes I start out looking and expecting the journals to be one way, and at the end, just one thing that could be amiss in your plan could change the journal totally and have it take on a personality all of its own. I love it so much. The process is beautiful. So I'm basically cutting them down, and I'm tracking the level of the cut, because that will tell me where the placement of my sheet will be inside of the journal. Now, sometimes I can cut it down if I so choose. Or, so the placement of the papers is what I'm speaking to. It could vary, very much so. So I am so curious to see how this will turn out. But I'm looking to have this one fall into more of the shabby, bordering on shabby look. And perhaps it will even be a little bit muted. So I expect it to be quite lovely. When it's all finished, I will mark it so that I come back and showcase to you the results of this set journal. So if you're watching again later on, you'll remember that this is the cover. So when I showcase it to you again, you will recognize the journal. So maybe within a day or two. Or I could show you the bare body. Let's see how far we get in this. And I'm sure you have things to do as well. But if you happen to be crafting at the same time and you want to join me, that's good too, because we can craft together. You can craft along with me, right? Craft along with me. So Christmas is over. Today is Boxing Day. And this is the first year that most people did not have to get up early and go out seeking deals. I guess you can just wake up and turn on your computer or get on your phone and check out the deals that are available to you, because we are now in the lockdown, right? Right? So all the crazy shopping. I think the most unfortunate thing would be the stores with all the plans that they had, especially if they bought all of their items. And the Christmas is the biggest time of year for these store owners, and so a lot of people lost a lot of money and investment this year. So let's hope that the new year with the vaccine brings us something better. By the way, how many of you are planning on getting your vaccine? It's a tricky thing, isn't it? There's a lot of fear going on. A lot of people are afraid to have the vaccine be taken. But whatever your plans are, plan carefully. I work with seniors, and so it's very important that I protect myself because, you know, the long-term care homes took a hard hit. So it will be very interesting because even though some individuals might not want to get the vaccine because of fear, they might be quietly forced to take it, or they would lose work. So, and then with time too, it might become mandatory. So very interesting times, very interesting times. And as I'm cutting down my pages and looking at it, I'm trying to see, you know, if I'm consistent. And sometimes, because it's wallpaper sheets, if you've not yet heard, a lot of my journals are covered with wallpaper sample sheets. So as I'm cutting them down to put on the inside, sometimes I look at them to decide, should I save that for a cover? And so as I was looking at this, I was thinking that maybe this can be a cover. It could be a cover. Should I make it a cover? No, I'll leave it for a page. I'll leave it for a page. Hopefully you agree with me. Now, when the pages are muted like this, then in a situation for a cover, you yourself can go back in and you can take anything that you choose and cover it. No, that was too loud. But basically, you can take something and cover the page, cover it yourself. Do you see what I'm saying? So if it was so plain, you can pretty it up yourself. But I think I will pass and let this go into the book. And so the analogy like a cook, because as you're preparing, you're thinking, does it have enough sugar? Does it have enough salt? Should I add some more spice? Oh my goodness. These are the things that goes through my mind. Okay, so I'm now finished with my innards for my journals. What I'm going to do now is put that aside, and I want to bring in the rest of my guts, so to speak. I'm going to bring in the parts, the vintage papers and the gently vintage papers for the journal. So I have what do you call it? Dictionary sheets, history books. And sometimes as I look through them, you know, I decide, because I just pull, right? So then if it doesn't move me, then I scrap it. Children dictionary page. I might leave this one alone. It might be a little bit too bright for what I want to work with. So that's what, you know, you gauge. You look at your sheets and you think to yourself, do I want that? Don't I want that? That's how you go about doing it. So I'm picking and choosing what goes into my journal. because when I go to my books, I basically just rip them out. And this is the stage where you sit and you decide what should or should not go into your journals. And recently I've been listening to some of my customers, and especially if you're a Christian, there's certain things like this. For example, you probably wouldn't want to look at that. So when I go, like for example, this is what I wanted to get. So this is what I would use maybe somewhere to decorate. And that's the, when you find the books, wherever you get your books from, make sure that as you look at them, you take a good look, because you don't want to use inappropriate photos in your journals. So far I think I will use these, but I need some more. Please, sir, can I have some more? So I have more to look through. And as I like telling my friends, I live in a world of paper. Lots and lots of paper. So these here will make awesome covers. You see, when I was showing you that plain possible cover, this would rest nicely on it, and appropriately with this young lady reading here. So at some point, who knows, maybe you will see that in a journal. Maybe, just maybe. And some individuals as well prefers not to have individuals in their journals. Most don't care, but some do. So in that respect, I try to mix my journals, so some would have individuals and some vintage. But again, like I said earlier, one of the things I admonish I ask my customers is to I put enough pages in my journals, guys, that all you have to do is go in and rip out what you don't want, because I give you enough pages to work with. So I'm not gonna mind if you were just to go in and tear out what you don't want. Simple as that. But when I create the journals, I have a vision, and that's all I work with, in hopes that it would be appreciated. But if you're Christian base, then tear out what you don't want. And if you order and you put in a specific order, then I will possibly have to charge you a little bit more, because it takes more time to select my papers, and that's more custom made. So if you're ordering something that's a custom order, it's obviously not fair to the others, because those are journals that I make and have set aside. So if you're looking for a custom order, it will be a little bit more on the pocket, but not too much that you can't afford it. Like I said, right now my journals are $25, and that's not breaking the bank, because if you were to look online, you will see that many of the journals on there, they're $40-something and up, even to $100+. So I know my journals are a steal, so please take advantage of that, because you will not find my price anywhere else for the quality of work that I have. I am quite in love with the journals, and I'm so happy when they get into hands that can appreciate them. When you buy my journals, you will enjoy them, and that I'm happy to say. So I chose a plethora of papers, and they are geared towards maybe someone who don't like a lot of photos of individuals. I do have some antique vintage replicas such as this, and these are from the 1800s, 1865 replications. Should this be in your journal and you don't like it, again, take the one side, rip it out, find the back of that other side, and rip it right out. Simple as that. No sense throwing out the basin with the water, right? But once you see my journals, believe you me, you will like it, and that's a good thing. Okay, now I'm gonna cut down the papers. I'm gonna cut these down. So we first cut down the wallpaper sheets, yes. Now we're cutting down the other parts of the journal, which is the used books journal, used book pages, some very vintage, early, late 1800s, and all the way to maybe early 80s. Keep in mind, guys, we're in 2020 going on to 2021. So if you're looking at the 80s, these are still considered vintage. I think someone said after 20 years, because many of the individuals probably would not have been, if most of my customers border, they go back and forth. Some are older, some are younger. If you happen to be in your early 40s or late 30s, you would not have experienced the world of the 80s and the 70s and such. So these are all vintage to you. I love the world of paper. Oh, this is beautiful. I think the shutdown now we've returned a little bit to this image, haven't we? Where the mom is there reading her book, and well, she looks like she's sewing something. Here he is at his desk. So desks are back. Oh wow, that just dawned on me. You know, years ago individuals had a desk in their home so they can write letters and do some work, and we're returning to that, aren't we? And here, this is from February 26th, 1921. This was from the cover of the first of the month literary digest cover, where the lady is there with her husband at this desk. And this is from a Norman Rockwell. He was a amazing painter, artist. Isn't this interesting how times, go back, rung and round? Absolutely beautiful, guys. 1921 image. Love it. Look at this. Oh my. So this is what I'm talking about. Something like this you will find in your journal. And though some individuals don't like journals with photographs of individuals, I think something like this is quite amicable, And should you not like it, again, tear it out. I will not have a problem with that. Once the journal gets into your hands, it is yours to do as you please. And keep in mind that journals are great for gifts. If you're not looking for a journal for yourself, introduce your young ones to the joy of journaling. It is not just something that is play. When you journal your thoughts into a journal, you can later return to it and use it as a gauge to see where you're going. As a man thinks in his heart, so is he. So if your thought process happens to be here or there, you can later on return to your journal and see where your thought process has led you. I like to remember Oprah Winfrey, who at her disposal can use any mode to journal, but yet this woman repeatedly shows and talks about the fact that she still uses pen and paper when journaling and returns to them to see where her thought process has led her and how it's influenced her life. So this is no play, guys. When a journal is in your possession, use it. Use it. And I happen to be one of the creators of Handmade journals. So look no further, Young's Paper Creations, and order your journal. Like one of my customers this Christmas, I think she will forever stay in my mind, because Christmas time is when I sell a number of my journals, and this customer was, such a blessing to many this Christmas. So start the process of journaling, and believe you me, you'll enjoy the process. But more than that, consider becoming a journal maker. I provide the kits with one of your purchases of a journal, and I would advise you to use that as a guide and start creating your own journals. As you go on, you'll find out that the journals that you create will take on a life of its own. So you start off with someone else's and then you work from there. That's how it works. You will then create your own journals. When you look at your journal, you create within it its own life, right? But first you need a gauge. Oh, I love this color combination. Love it. Wow. I think I'm going to set this aside so I can mimic these colors. So your inspiration comes from any and every place. That's the world of art, because this is an art form. So I'm coming down to that place where I'm going to be finished with the cutting of my pages, and then I will look to insert them and see where they best fit. So I have an assortment of papers, and that came from my pulling on my many used books. So fear not. We like to remind individuals who are scared to use pages of books. These are all old books found at a variety of places that sells used books. They're not brand new books, and they're old books given a second life. And I think that's a beautiful thing. So you're helping a book when you purchase a journal. You're helping, the environment. So think of it that way as well. When you go into a store to get a brand new book, just think of these here with, it's also informative. I mean, to scan through and as you journal, to look at all of these, sometimes you go back and you read certain things from way back when. How enlightening. So these are what I folded, and I'm going to get my base page of my sheet. So this is what I've cut down already, my blank pages, and I'm now going to insert my journals, my wallpaper sample sheets into my white pages, and I will alternate with the book pages as well. And actually, you know what? I'll start off, sometimes I varied it, but I'll start off with the book pages. Yeah, let's do that. So here we go. And sometimes if it's too long, then we have to cut it down. And you're looking to make sure that the edge lines up, because you don't want to have long and short sheets if that's not your goal. Sometimes if you're creating certain journals, you can do that, but this is not what we're aiming for right now. And this journal will be I will have over 100 pages inside of this journal. So my journals are to be written in, and so I always make sure that I place sufficient pages for that purpose in mind. It will not be overly decorated, such as this one here. This is almost finished. This one that I showed you before, it's almost finished. I just have to place the extra writing papers and such into it, but it is not, it might seem overly decorated, but as you turn the pages plus the ones that will be inserted, you will have sufficient to work with, believe you me. I'm loving this one already and seeing quite a bit of promises in it. It's a matter of taking out and putting in and looking at it, and it's a beautiful process. And actually, if I should say so myself, this is one of the favorite parts of my creating journals. It's building this process, the early stage of the building of the journal, putting all the papers together. This is one of the parts that I love. So when you start placing your pages into the journal, you'll notice that it forces the ones at the top to come forward. And so at some point, I'm going to go in and cut that down a little bit. So I'm going to I'm going to alternate with some wallpaper sample sheets. And I'm going to stop short right now and cut a little bit. So I'm going to cut down my page just a tad.